Alrighty, welcome back to Stationeers. We're going to go back to our Venetian paradise here. Living in a Venetian paradise. So, last week feels so long ago. I think tonight I want to work on the degassing furnace. I want to get the code written for that. And additionally, I thought that I've got that filtration unit pulling the pollutant off. I may also pull the carbon dioxide off. I think that might be handy. Then I'm just using nitrogen as my degassing gas, and it's not the greatest medium, but beats nothing. And nitrogen I'm only using in the excuse me. Oh, dinner's talking back. In the greenhouse. So, speaking of greenhouse, I got a problem with the carbon dioxide. So, so anyway, pulling nitrogen from the atmosphere. And I'm going to be doing the same thing with carbon dioxide for the greenhouse. Arguably, I could pull it out of, but it would require another, I guess this is another atmospheric skid, off of the degasser. But that requires that I must have already set this up and, okay. It just hasn't, okay. Yeah, okay, so this is actually running. I don't have any safeties on it, so there's that potential. Okay, good to know. Also, at some point, I would like to decouple my oxygen supply from cooling my water. That would be a very smart thing, because right now, you can see convoluted, but this is the oxygen supply line, comes off my filtration unit here. So whatever I degas, whatever I pull out of the greenhouse via this filter, and waste tank, all that fun stuff. So I've got a little bit of a storage medium here, which overflows into this holding area for the O2. But this ties into my volatiles for one. Volatiles? No, I got rid of that. So it's just the water and then the steam side. So I dump a bunch of heat from the steam into my oxygen. That's not ideal, but it works. Watermelon seed. Yeah, that's right. I did buy some plants. So I do want to decouple that for one thing. And then let's see, our degassing furnace. I don't think I'm going to need a nice housing words. A housing. I will need a chip. There is, there's a chip. And there's that, and then there's that. Okay. So I've got everything I need to get that hooked up and possibly going. It's just a matter of writing the code. And additionally, I'm thinking about it, I want to hook up the cold line. Ooh, that was weird. The cold line outside is going to the okay, so this drives me nuts. Okay, radiator, medium radiator, right? Okay, I just wanted to make sure that's exactly what it's called. And I go over here. Do I type in radiator? Oh, now it's there. medium. Now it's there. Okay. Now, you guys saw that, right? That was not there. That's if there's one thing that prevents me from just making this. I don't know why this hash generator. That's weird. Anyway, I'll go ahead and print off 5 of these. So I've got the 2 heat exchangers, one for hot, one for cold. And what I would like to do is get those hooked up. The steel, right? The problem that I have with the cold or the cooling side, so the cold side, is that is going to dump a lot of load into the system. Now, I have not been making any water, so that might be okay. It will make the base run away a little bit, which is not... it's fine. It's fine for a start. But the hot side's not hooked up, so that's why I'm grabbing this. So, and I think all I'm going to do is just have... I probably should take some way of loading it up with air. So we'll do that, just for sure. And the idea being... let's put the brown down here. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to do orange pipe for other stuff. Let's get the silicon. I can only make 10, so I need to make silicon. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Squirrel. So I'm just going to load it up with basic Venus atmosphere and have it exposed to radiators. So that's going to be my hot pipe for the degassing furnace, because it really only has to go up a couple degrees at a time. So as a matter of fact, I'm just going to start with a single radiator, because one of the things I fear is if I have too much oomph in the system, when it's processing, it says, okay, warm up my gas. I don't want it to transfer a bunch of heat and get to the point where it can smelt lead. Now that's the only one that I'm concerned with, because it requires a minimum temperature of 400 degrees, and I think degassing requires 373, so there's a very tight range at which I can operate. And if anything, I would rather it stay cool too long and slow down the degassing process than the other way around, and doing a speed smelt on stuff. So silver. Okay. Also got a couple other things on my mind. So in addition, I'm going to have some readouts giving me temperature, pressure maybe,
Oxygen critical.
and also maybe a light for hot, cold, something like that. So that's the thought. So let's put on the helmet, put on the hard suit, jump out here, and put on this. Kids. Okay, and then jump on in here. I can turn off the deal here. turn off the AC. Okay, so do I have a housing? Oh, I do. Oh, that's right. I've already got this started. Okay. So this is the hot. So one thing I'm thinking is maybe I will okay, we'll go straight out and then go straight up. And then this one can actually, I think, do a straight 10. I think we can get away with that. Right? Maybe not. Maybe a straight 10's a little excessive. Woo-hoo. Let's do a 5. That well, that might still not be okay. That's the hot side. Let's do this temperature. Temperature, pressure. I don't know what else I would put on there. Percentage. I don't know if I'd do a percentage. LED. And this is going to be temp. This will be LED. Pressure. Sure. Oh, hey, look at that. Perfect fit. Let's go ahead and slap these in. They all... Storage modules? Not sure what you're referring to. Oh, I can't even get there, so... I do have a ton of silos in here. There we go. LED, temperature, pressure. Got my digital valves, which are named. Silos. I think I've got that already in there. Let's check that out. Fire it up. Import. Edit. So pressures are way off. I'm not going to worry about that. So yield. Okay, so we're checking full output buffer on the silo. So post is always going to be open. And then quantity of that post is if it is greater than 575, then we're going to stop processing. Okay. Yeah, silos are meant to store something. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that is complete. That's good. And then check for temperature bounds. So there's that. So future pressure bounds. Okay, so right. Okay. Oh. I guess technically I could read the filtration units, pressure input and everything. That seems, yep, okay, that'll work. That's what we'll do. Edit. Pressure bounds, check for pressure bounds, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Update displays. So we're going to load batch from into R15 filtration devices. You know what? Yeah, okay. I was going to have a separate section for that, but I think that it might be better to do something like this without that. Okay. Yeah, so I've already got the information here, so I can probably just go ahead and set batch by name. Temperature, Setting is going to be R15. In this case, I'm going to set batch name HLED hash pressure. It's going to be setting R15 again. Set batch name HLED. On to 1. Mode, let's see. So here we go. LED console display. Mode. Excuse me. We're going to do Celsius. So 4. Or if there's a LED mode. Display mode Celsius. Okay. Wow. I'm an idiot. Celsius. What am I? Display mode. Why does it look wrong? Celsius, you moron. SBN HLED hash pressure mode. Display mode. No, there's a good one. Let's do display mode in I guess Pascal, and hopefully it up converts. We're gonna see. We do need to define HLED hash this guy LED 5. Okay. Temperature, pressure, sets the mode. Sets the mode. Okay. So that works. Yes. Let's go ahead and export that for now. Make sure that this is pressure and temperature. Oh my goodness. Temperature. All right, grab this. Flip that in there. 5.4 kPa, 526 degrees centigrade. Let's check that. Nope. So, okay, so that's reading Kelvin. And I'll just leave it as at that then. I'm okay with... I don't want to do any math on it, it's a problem. So we'll just say Kelvin. We'll just do that. Export, drop it in. This is what my chart in front of me is anyway, so at this point I can throw in silver, gold, and copper without any fear. So there goes the silver. Okay. Temperature wasn't the reason I wasn't doing that. It was the... It's a combination of pressure and stuff. That was what my concern was. And the volatiles is basically almost gone. It's just whatever's leaking in that tank. And I'm wondering if that tank's actually a more of a problem than it's worth. Okay. So, well, all right, let's see. You can see the pressure go up. Temperature staying down, which is good. which means we're not combusting. That's the big thing. Or maybe we did combust what little we had, and it's just not enough. Temperature is going down. Okay. I think we're going to go ahead and slap this in, load the cooling system. Oh yeah, look at that coming down. Throw that in there some more. And we lead. So lead, I got to wait till this is under 400. Okay, so pressure. Okay. So the biggest problem that we have now is with the pressure, we have to worry about condensation of the nitrous. Because we're going to be operating in maximum is going to be this range right here, essentially. So, and minimum, it's going to be I'm just going to say 370. 369, sure, good number, 3 nice. So 1.5 megapascals. So if I keep the pressure under 1.5 megapascals in the pipe here, we won't have any condensation. So we're way above that right now, so we are definitely going to condense. Actually, we're going to condense the pollutant at this point too. Pollutant and nitrous. If we keep the pressure low enough, actually, let's take a look. Can I compare with pollutant? So in this temperature range of 370, crap. Wish I could like bind it. That didn't help me. Okay, so 370. Let's get rid of the logarithmic scale. Maybe that'll help. Okay. That does not help. So let's just straight up use pollutant. Okay, through our 370. So as long as we stay under 4.5 megapascals at these temperatures, we will not condense pollutant. So we could use that to our advantage. So here's what I'm thinking. We could leave this at, I don't know, 3 megapascals. Set that like that. Just leave that on. And then if anything condenses, it's going to be nitrous, because I don't think anybody else... cold, fairly cold. Water condenses. Well, I mean, technically that's going to be a problem if I ever throw something with water in there, which I should not. It's not a foolproof system for some reason. If I threw water ice in there for some godforsaken reason, could cause a problem. So I may need to ensure that ices of that type do not make it. I guess theoretically, if I was offloading a rocket automatically, there is a possibility that I would have something like that. So that is food for thought for future me. Definitely not me, because I don't have access to water ice except for through a trader. And NAS. So I think we are, quite frankly, pretty safe to assume that any condensation that's going to occur in this pipe, and I could even bring this down a little bit. 3,500. I think that'd be fine. It'd be good. Let's, before we load the system too hard, do this. And I warmed up the system, but that's okay. Do we have... It's a pittance of N2O. I'm not too worried about that. So let's go ahead and drop that. So we're going to be dropping pressure like crazy. And I just thought of something. I'm going to go ahead and throw carbon dioxide in here too. And recycle this. Because I don't really want the carbon dioxide. So we're going to purge the carbon dioxide out of this as well. So carbon dioxide and pollutant. So essentially at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to stay in this pipe could be nitrogen. And I might do this in stints so I build up nitrogen. What did I have this set to? 3,500. So we're going to stop dumping so much. But you can see that 85% of the contents in here are carbon dioxide. So right, 100. What did I say with the pollutant here? Let's just use Celsius just to make sure that I'm not losing my marbles. 100 degrees, so 4.8. Okay, yeah, so we cannot condense unless we really chuck it full. Now, if I took a load of uranium and threw it through here, I could potentially put a lot of pressure in the system real quick. But we're not going to do that. So this is no longer doing that. Right now I'm purging the carbon dioxide, and I think that's fine. Okay, so now that we're coolish, so we got less thermal mass, and I'm not ejecting it. That was the other. Just realized that my air tank is pretty darn low, so maybe I should consider making a run for it. Yeah, that would be bad. That would have been bad. So, yeah, okay. But that does mean that this tank here is... you're cool. Awesome. You're still cool. Good. So this tank's going to be warm. But this next tank should be a lot cooler. Oh, and the other thing is, once I decouple my water, I can run my oxygen a lot cooler. I think I can go down like negative 10 or 11, or depending. Yeah. That's good enough. Okay, you can see that the temperature's dropping in this, which is what I want. I want to run these pretty much empty so they don't have as much thermal mass. And, okay. Is there anything else that we want? I guess we could take the trip outside and make sure we, since it's morning, set up the radiator and stuff. Oh, wow. Huh. Interesting. And how far up? Oh, okay. It's fine. That's padded down there, so that's okay. So we're going to do this. And I think I have to crack the glass to get any further than that, so that's fine. Let's pull this up. Okay. That away, and tool. Straight 3. Boom. Looks good. Yeah, good. There is a little concern that the temperature in here could get crazy. But I'm going to run radiator. Actually gonna... Yeah, let's do this. Give it one space. And I only want to run one at the moment. And this is not super needed. That was not what I wanted to do. Really hate prospect here. So brain fart. There we go. Ready to go. We're just gonna do this. And then do that. Okay. And this is just super quick and dirty. This is not permanent, but this is to pressurize. Oh. You know, I didn't even think about that. I don't really have a lot of capacity in this network. What do I got? 240, 440? Okay. Okay. Alright, let's... I'll take it over 6. Okay, there we go. There we go. So the idea is that this will be thermally attached to Venus, and that should always be able to warm up. You know, ironically enough, maybe not during a storm. I may actually have a cooling problem. Okay. Well, I'll worry about that when the time comes. If the time comes. Maybe I'll have to put a little bit of thermal... I don't know. I gotta think about that. So anyway, so this is where the input... Oh, that's the air conditioner. Okay. So the input for any ores, whether it be from space, from me mining, a deep miner, something like that, it gets shoved in there.
Hydration critical.
Okay, I guess we'll go eat and drink and then worry about it. So now I have that going on. Okay. So I've got the thermal regulation of the degasser figured. Not foolproof, because Venus atmosphere could be too cold. Yeah. Because I just realized that could be a real problem. Because if it needs heat, so it kicks on the quote-unquote hotline, which is above Venus, or below what's in the furnace, it will in fact cool it. 365 is below. Actually, no, that's not a problem, because it's just going to stop processing. It's not going to suck anything in. Okay, so splitting hairs over nothing. So worst case scenario is it's going to slow down the degassing process while a storm is going on. So I shouldn't worry about that. Okay, this is driving towards fruiting. We'll just wait. We've got some that are ready to seed. I kind of want them all on the same page. Make sure that none of my plants are missing. Okay. Alright, looks good. feel like I'm in the jungle over there. Okay.
Oxygen low.
So our
Low
temperature
pressure.
is
Oxygen
taken care of.
critical. Pressure critical.
Pressure,
Temperature critical.
not necessarily taken care. Oh, ooh, 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 ooh. Okay. Yeah, I forgot. I should go turn off, at least yank the carbon dioxide filter out of that one. Because otherwise we're not going to have anything left to thermally anchor to. Well, whatever. We're down to 442. We can almost throw lead in. I don't know what the pressure's at. Of course, the benefit to as we dump carbon dioxide is we're going to stop loading our system so hard here. So yeah, we're still actually it looks like it's keeping up at this level at 77. Of course, that's probably more thermal inertia than anything, but that's fine. We are decreasing. Make sure that we're not okay. So we're still trying to cool, which we're trying to get down to less than 127 degrees Celsius, less than 400 degrees Kelvin. So we got 40 degrees to go, and then that should shut off. And then as we throw stuff through, it might need a warm-up. Let me make sure that that's checked. Yep. Okay. And that's Venus temperature. 365, right? 365. Yeah, so, yeah, okay. I don't think that'll be a problem. I don't think that'll be a problem. Could always put a pipe heater on it, but that's extra power that's not necessary. This is free. Venus is hot. Let's take some heat out of the atmosphere. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. And this is dropping just because of the temperature. And it's dropping fairly well. All right, I'm happy with that. We may... Let's see. So there's some nitrous. Now this isn't 100% perfect because that tank that's in there is kind of slowing the stuff down. So it actually would make more sense to put down a bunch of inline tanks on this network just to make that the network is... Yeah, that would actually make more sense. Yeah, more inline tanks on the pipe network instead of using a big tank. Because the junction point where the pipe network and the tank meet is actually a bottleneck. So, all right, we'll let this continue to drop. Oh, one thing I did want to do was to put LED. You know, I'll put it right there. That's not what I meant to do. Status. I actually wanted to turn it colors based on different things. Heating, cooling. Let's see. I've got the... Yeah, okay. Let's do this real quick. Just for funsies. Funsies. Temperature check. Temperature. Okay, so... Okay, we're gonna move R13, which is gonna be temporary, to color mode, color dot green. Yeah, there we go. And then at this point, we do a select of R13 based on R15. If A is non-zero, you select this. Otherwise, if it is 0, select C. So if it is greater than 0, we want this to be... we're hot, we want to cool down. So we're going to select color dot blue. Otherwise, R13. And in this case, we're going down here to select R13 again, based on our, oops, 14 actually. If it is this, then we want color red, otherwise it's R13. And then we're going to set batch by name H. You know what? I'm going to fix this color. 13 H. We're going to make it LCD and LED, because LCD would be a liquid crystal display. LED is light emitting diode, and that doesn't work for what we're trying to do. This has a color, right? Yes, it does. Yeah, that is exactly there. Okay, all right. Do that. Grab you, export, grab you. So we're trying to cool. All right. I can dig it. Life's a garden, dig it. It's actually coming down pretty quick, all things considered. And I forget what the temperature is, but don't want it to get too hot, obviously. And it shouldn't be a problem, because the only time that heat's going to get introduced into this system is, well, first, if it's trying to heat, or second, if I throw something in and it starts combusting. Which, if I throw cobalt and silver in right after each other, I could run into some problems. There is some potential there. There is some potential. And I really don't think we'll run into any problems as far as, unless if I threw a whole bunch in there, I could have a problem pretty quick. But I do have that back pressure. Oh, that'll be funny. That back pressure regulator, if that's the case, I'll be probably throwing volatiles and oxygen and NOS and everything, as it's combusting out this vent. That could be fun. So maybe we'll have a fiery exhaust. We'll look like one of those flares at a refinery. Maybe I should extend that out a little ways so I don't burn any walls or cables or anything like that. Okay, so I could analyze the code real quick. What's our threshold? Max temp is 390, actually. I feel like 395 might be more better. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So it'll go down to 390 and it should stop cooling. Okay. Good. Do I have... Oh, no. I still need more chutes. We're still slowly pulling stuff out of here, but that's okay. All right. running around the base, I might as well do this. And not be a dumbass. Okay. So this should be unaffected because all the heat's going to be dumped into this pipe. And you're actually cooling quite well. All the temperature is probably in this room is probably being generated by this tank. Yeah, it's creeping up. Keep an eye on her. It's fine. Well, pressure looks all right. I really should probably... No, I don't even know. I probably should have a gas sensor. Need to straighten up all this cabling too. That looks pretty good all around. What am I doing here? Oh, I think I was pulling liquid in from a tank and turning it into water or gas. Shoots. Shoots. Technically speaking, I can throw the lead into the system now.
Pressure critical.
Now that I think about it.
Temperature critical.
One shoot. Oh, no, 3 shoots. Do I have any more shoots? That's literally all I've got, 3 shoots. Wow, just go in there. Okay, so I may need some iron. Oh, there's a little bit here. Okay. That was 84. 20 shoots, probably more than enough. Okay. So thoughts for the auto smelting. So I'm going to have I gotta think about that. That's going to be quite a lot of code, I think. We'll probably do a round robin thing. Go one at a time. Let's pull this guy up and use this as a notepad. So we're going to have our ore silos, and then we're going to have maybe some kind of let's see. Okay, ore silos, and then our ingot silos, right? So degassed ore silos. In between here, we're going to have the auto smelter furnace, and that's going to basically cycle each silo in turn if below amount, and can make a batch, then start the process, right? So it's going to cycle through, just as an example, it's going to iron, then copper, and let's just say lead, and then we'll go to steel and invar, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So minimum batch of like 100 gram each. So with steel would be equal to what, 6? Ooh. I guess this has to be 200 gram at 150 Fe and 50. 50 hydrocarbon. Iron, the pures, probably 100 gram or 100 units. That's fine. So the different alloys might require something because they have to all relate to. Oh yeah, stacks. That's what it is. So minimum stack size. So for instance, let's say stellite. Right. So stellite would have to be 1 silver, 1 cobalt, 2 silicon. 1 silver, what was it? 1 cobalt, and then 2 silicon. So each one would have to, I guess, have a minimum of what's okay. So I guess, I guess I'd have to make use of the stack for that. Each silo would get its own stack position, stack memory, position in the stack. All right, so we'd have, just I'm going to go off the way it's organized on my sheet in front of me. So I got lead, and then copper, gold, silver, iron, nickel, silicon, and then solder, electrum, steel, constantan, invar, and then our super alloys would be like waspaloy, inconel, hastelloy, astraloy, and stellite. Maybe I should separate these by. So I apologize for the crudeness of my model. I didn't have time to paint it and make it to scale. So each of these would have a stack location. So we'd have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I was actually contemplating putting it in hex, but I don't think it's going to help. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So yeah. Okay, so that's unfortunate that's well, technically speaking, there's also uranium, but we don't process that. And you know what? It's funny is I'm also missing stuff like cobalt, because you wouldn't have cobalt ingots, but they have to source cobalt. So, well, no, okay, all right. So these are the smeltables. Okay, so we don't actually have to keep track of uranium, coal, or whatever for the output for the ingot silos, if you will. Up here, obviously, then we do have to keep track of. Well, let's just start with this: lead, copper, gold and silver, and iron and nickel, silicon, cobalt. We also have the uranium and coal, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we got all 10 in there. And so whatever is doing this, geez, go to the end. Thank you. This chip, this you know what, this function. Let's call it a function. Okay, so all right. There's also something that I saw here. Our map, given a reagent hash, stores the corresponding to fulfill the The hash for iron will store the iron for iron ingot. Okay, there's, I thought, recipe. I feel like, oh, that probably only works on the machines. I think. Yeah, I think that's the only way that works. The ancient road. Load reagents of a device's reagent mode, or a hash of the reagent type to check for. Contents required recipe. Word or the number. Reagent mode. Load reagent of device reagent. Contents required. How would... This would have to be an array or something. Anyway. Yeah, okay. So there's not really there's not a way that I'm aware of that you can actually have knowledge of the recipe. Right? Let's go through and just take a look. I don't think so. I just want to make sure, because that would be, I mean, that'd be freaking fantastic. Make it a lot easier, I think. Be able to read a recipe at will. These are branches, 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 branches. More branches. That's a lot of branches. Clear, define, extract. That's actually... extracts a bit field from A, beginning at B for C length and placed in the provided register. That's... Is that new? That would make it so much frickin' easier just to pull the reagent out of, yeah, when you read the stack out of one of these machines. You can just extract it, and that does everything. Shift it and all that stuff. It'd make it a lot frickin' easier. So I want to say, yeah, in inserts. Now, inserts or overwrites. Okay, that would make it a lot easier to deal with the stacks, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. Okay, lerp. Oh yeah. Oh, linear, interpolate. Oh, okay. Blah blah blah. Getting distracted. Okay, so yeah, so there's no way to read. So we actually do have to know the recipe for whatever the function is. So there might be a separate chip that's going to go through and cycle through all of these and set into a memory location somewhere on the quote-unquote network or the bus that this recipe can be fulfilled with current requirements. And then the auto smelter might step through those memory address locations and say, okay, and how would I go about doing that? Okay, so this is where it gets a little complex. Search function must know the recipe and give OK signal if reagents available. So this is probably going to have to be another chip. This is easy enough. And then I feel like the start process might be its own chip too. Or at least a series of... Because we could load in a... See, I guess you do what they do, right? 8 bits, yeah, 8-bit for the reagent amount, and then 32-bit for a reagent hash. So we could essentially have a 40-bit, right? 40-bit, yeah, okay. assuming that the memory chips can handle 64-bit, we could do let's do. Okay, so this is going to be in stacks. So everything is going to be based on stacks, right? So a recipe, say for steel. Let's do steel, right? So 3 stacks of iron ore, right? And 1 stack of coal ore. So we would have to, this is for a specific recipe. What's the most complex recipe that we can possibly do? That. Yeah, okay, so 3 items, 3 items, 3 items, 3 items, 3 items. So it looks like a maximum of 3 things at a time. That's not necessarily future-proofed. The alloys are too. I never really realized that. That these require 3 ingredients, these require 2 ingredients, and these require just the, well, this technically requires 2 because hydrocarbons and volatiles, but funny. Oh, I just realized that these would also have to be able to check for steel. That's right. Everything else is ore except for the ones that require steel. So steel's also going to have to be tracked in its own. Okay. So yeah. So the recipe currently can be up to 3. Let's just use frickin' stellite. The silver ore, cobalt ore, and then we go into silicon ore, right? So this is going to be stellite ingot. So we can use a base 4 addressing scheme to get us what we want, and then give a particular ingot a index. Just trying to think of how we could do this programmatically and as efficiently as possible in an IC10 chip without trying to make, we could use like 7 bazillion of them. But part of the fun is getting it clamped down like that. So let's crack open a Ruta beer here. And, yeah, okay. And then, yeah, each. So we've got 16 possible entries. 17, sorry, off by 1. So we have 17 potential recipes here that I might keep track of because 5, that's 10. That is 5, right? Yeah, 5 and 5. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 17 because I'm not going to be making any solid fuel, so I'm not going to have any volatiles at those temperatures. So 17, and if we use 4, that'll use up 68 memory addresses, which isn't bad. There'll have to be a chip loader IC10. We'll use 68 chunks of the stack. Or 68 lines to load. So that already took up half of a chip just for loader. So we got to keep that in mind too. So an initialization chip will take that. Okay. So each function will know the recipe, so it can reference this. So we will have to have a loader chip to do that. Search function, give OK. We might be able to do that, but process... Just trying to think. So search function need cycle through... Oh, right. Yeah, okay. I just thought of this. We don't even necessarily need to know. Yeah. Okay, so at... you know, I'm going to do this. Right? Yeah, okay. So here's my thought process, and I know this is kind of getting off into the weeds for people, but show you in my brain. So if we're going to use up 4 memory addresses for an ingot, now we have room. We can turn this into 5 if we need to in the future. If they ever add like an additional tier of ingot that requires 4 ingredients or whatever. But here's my thought. Base 0 of the offset will be the item name itself. Right? We don't need that. And then the next 4 are going to require that. Now, here's the next part that I don't know about. And maybe this argues some more. So maybe instead of... we can use the first... so we pick this address. We can pull the hash out because that's where it's going to be. So we can check this silo. If it's below a certain amount, then we step through this and say, if this silo has at least this many stacks, keep going. And if we get to the end, then we can say, yeah, we're good. We could theoretically also store information into here. I'm stellite. Okay. So I'm just going to write this in plain text here. So stellite requires minimum of 10 megapascals, maximum of 20 megapascals, right? And then the next address can be the temperature. So a minimum of 1800 Kelvin and, you know, infinity. I'm going to actually do, just to make this more fun, solder ingot. In this case, 1 iron ore, just for funsies, and then we're going to have 1 lead ore, right? And then we're going to have, this is going to be zeros because it's empty. And then in this case, 4 would be the minimum pressure, which is 100 No, yeah, 100 kPa. Technically, it's kPa, right? If we're being technical here, which is pulling the flesh shit out of the pepper. And then 99999 megapascals, right? And then our temperature requirements are a 350 Kelvin and 550 Kelvin. So theoretically, we could shove this information into there. This is I guess as of now, we could say 605,555. You know, so 16 bits. So here, to the 16th megapascal. We could do the same thing over here. 2 to the 16th Kelvin. So 16 bits, we could figure. That'd probably be sufficient. So this way we could reference this. So that's 6 address locations per thing. So we know the recipe, the pressures, the temperatures. That's kind of a way to think about it. All right, let's go eat and drink before we start heavy breathing.
Hunger critical.
Yeah, I know, hunger critical.
Low pressure.
So
Oxygen critical. Pressure critical.
there's stuff there.
Temperature critical.
Okay.
Low pressure. Oxygen critical. Pressure critical. Temperature critical.
I wasn't sure how I was going to handle this, but the fewer chips that I have swapping back and forth, I think the better. One of the problems is going to be determining what is currently in process. That's the next part, and this is also a concern that I'm going to have with the when I'm running the sorry, brain farts. When I am running the production ordering machine, because they're going to be requesting ingots, and there's going to be a time delay between where they are ejected from the silos as ordered
Oxygen low.
and the machine receives
Low
it.
pressure.
So I don't
Oxygen
want this
critical.
endless loop where the
Pressure
machine
critical.
says, oh, I need
Temperature critical.
steel, give me 3 steel, or a stack of steel.
Low pressure. Oxygen critical.
And then
Pressure critical.
machine dumps a stack of steel and it comes over and it's on its way, and the machine says, hey, I still don't have steel, send me another one. So it chucks another one. I guess at the end of the day, if it could actually keep up with that, well, that could be a problem because there's going to be a whole lot of chutes. It go, oh, I'm out of steel, and all of a sudden it'd have 30 tons of steel delivered to it. Something. So I think gonna have an interface chip for all machines. So there's gonna be, oh right, I'm trying to think. Not RMAT. Reading the stack. Trying to remember back to my little experiment here. Can I read? I gotta bring up the tablet. Yeah, you can get that. RMAP. This is what I was concerned with. Given a reagent hash, store the corresponding prefab hash that the device expects to fulfill the reagent requirement. For an example, on an auto lathe, D only, so you can't reference it, you can't ID it, you have to have it set on a pin. So I may need to have a chip that goes through all of... Okay, well, technically speaking, I could have a chip run 6 devices. What are we going to have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so technically speaking, we can do it with a single chip, even if I threw something like the security printer out, right? Okay, we might be able to get away with that because these have the potential for being in that system, but I might as well just do a different... they aren't going to... Well, yeah, they're never going to be asking for ingots or anything like that. They're going to operate on an entirely different principle. So I guess we can get away with maximum of 6. Okay, so we can use a single chip to scan all of these. Oh, okay, so, all right, that makes it a little simpler. So what I was thinking about having that do, by the way, Squirrel, is pull each of these machines and determine if it's, waiting on a reagent so it can complete its recipe. Now, my thought was have 3 memory chips. So we're going to have, and it'll be on both sides. So the machine name and the machine, the reagent. So I'm just, at this point, this is just illustrative purposes. So this is going to be the machine, requesting machine name hash, technically. And then requested item plus quantity. So essentially what I get off of the... definitely the wrong thing to check. Let's go back to the autolathe. So when I pull... essentially this in a way. So I want to ship the quantity and the reagent hash. Now I have to run that first through RMAP. So RMAP D whatever, D0, DB, and then the reagent hash is going to be hash whatever. Oh, actually, whatever it spits out in that stack return, because it'll say iron or whatever, and whatever that ends up being, this will return iron ingot. So that is what we will throw in this with... Actually, I don't even think I need to do quantity, quite frankly. I'll just do 1 stack at a time at 500. That's my plan. I want to pull stacks of 500. It's just cleaner that way. So my thought was, as I'm pulling these machines, it says, oh, this one needs a reagent. And it's going to start at the top and say, hey, this machine needs iron ingots. And then what I'm thinking is having this kind of be an auxiliary... Well, okay. All right. Let's back up. Pulling each of these, and it determines it needs something. It checks to see that this chip is empty, that there is 0 set here. Then it will, boom, put its name in there and put its name in here. The order fulfillment center will read the other side of this chip and say, oh, there's a machine waiting. It needs this. Dump it. Probably put some kind of either machine name here or whatever, blah, 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 item name. So basically have a way of saying that I am delivering it. Right? At the same time, once it actually delivers or starts delivering, ships the item. There we go. Let's use that. It ships the item. Have it nullify this. So zero this out, and then this machine over here, it's going to sit here saying I need this, and it's going to wait. It's going to wait till this zeros, essentially. Once it zeros, it's going to see this is set. Right, so these are going to be zeroed by the fulfillment center. This is set by the fulfillment center, and we're going to be sitting here waiting. I guess we're going to be repolling our to see if we have fulfilled our requirement yet. Once we fulfill the requirement that we need, so that that requested item. Let's see. Actually, all right. Okay, so the fulfillment center is actually going to nuke this and leave this here, right? Once this determines that it... Ooh, okay. If this is 0, this also has to be 0. So these both have to be 0 before it sets it initially. Because if I do that, as we're sitting here waiting, we know it's being shipped. We're waiting for it to show up. And when the missing reagent either disappears or no longer matches this item, then we will 0 both of these out so that the fulfillment center knows that it doesn't need to dump another batch. And then the machine can now move on to the next part. Now, if it's happy, it'll move on to the next machine. If it's not happy, it'll move on to the next reagent, start the process all over again. Load up these chips. Fulfillment center sees a requesting machine, dumps the item, says it's on its way. Here's the tracking number. 0 this out. Oh, I see that's being delivered. I'm waiting. Oh, I no longer need any reagents. So 0 this out, and bye. Have a nice day. Bye. Have a beautiful time. And then on to the next machine. I think this is the most, without crossing the streams, because I don't want to. One thing I don't want to do is put these all on the same network. So I'm assuming that these are data on both sides, so these can act as a buffer. That's my hope, anyway. That is my hope. So they can communicate bidirectionally using this. So, yeah. That's my thought process. I know that was scrambled and probably made about as much sense as, hooves on a chicken. Or something. So, totally distracted, but I think essentially I kind of have to... Oh yeah, I only did 20. I do have to do the same thing, in a sense, for the smelting processing. I think. But, yeah, little tangent. Hopefully nobody got too overly lost, or...
Oxygen critical.
If you did, I apologize. My squirrel brain is something else. But you can see it's unfortunate, but sometimes this is exactly how complex I think in day-to-day life too. So I severely over-engineer things. We're doing good. How are we doing over here? I want to just make sure that this doesn't end up blowing up. Having a colossal amount of pressure in here does not bother me. That is dumping a lot of heat into the room, though. 6.6 kilojoules being dumped into there, and you can look over here. Oh, wow, we're up to 12 kilojoules here, so this is toggling on and off. That must mean that the okay. That must mean that the off-gassing furnace has caught up. So that's cool. That's very cool. So we can go in there and see a green light, hopefully. We're going to try it out. We're going to see. We are going in. A green light. We are in the green. 390. That's exactly where it stops, too. So. Okay. All right. Perfect. So green light at 390. It's kind of drifting upward, but that has to do with the temperature in the room and the tank and all that. So that looks beautiful. So you know what we're going to do now? We're going to go ahead and throw the lead in. Boom, 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 boom. This should start dropping. Yep, that's dropping. Good. Lead on, lead on, lead. Oh God. I don't think that dropped out. Do I have these? Okay. Nope. Alright, okay. Where's my lead? Silver ore. Lead ore. 2. And then there should be some 49. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. I am thrilled with that. So there we go. We have our degasser. There may be... You know what? There may be a... Is there a world in which I don't want this to process anything if it's over temp? That's a good question. That's a good question. Because over 400 means I can smelt lead in it. Oh, I'm out of power. So, if I can smelt lead in it, then maybe I should shut that door so I can't accidentally end up with lead ingots. Which, to be fair, I technically could throw into solder. Crap. Okay. I may need to consider actually putting a freaking area power controller there. Okay, I guess I'll wait for a little bit of power to come back. So, yeah, okay. So this is running admirably. Oh, there we go.
Power low.
Alright, let's go throw a chunk of charcoal in. Yep, okay. Oh, alright, so squirrel, squirrel, squirrel! I did say we were going to plot out the ordering system, so... We have the degasser working. I did want to do a little bit of surveying at some point, but, you know. Let's go ahead and just grab a chunk here. This should get me through. I'm actually surprised I haven't had a storm. Should I go ahead and mine? Maybe I should go ahead and mine. So you... chuck you in. There we are. That will power us up. Another thought would be to put in another bank of wind turbines. So 5 wind turbines, plugging into a bank of 8 batteries. I think the number is actually 7, but I figured it would be good just in case I do get a little bit of a stiff breeze. So I guess let's go ahead and randomly mine stuff, I guess. I don't really have a solid plan for what I want. Oh, yeah. I just thought about that. I do want to set up deep miners at some point, but might be a little bit of a problem here. Because I notice I'm in a Silver Valley. I'm not in Silicon Valley. I'm in Silver Valley. So that's a bit of a pain. Nickel. Well, I know nickel is useful for some of those alloys, so I might as well grab some of this while I'm just mindlessly mining. Is that a... Oh god. Oh god. Okay. Oh, jeez. Was not expecting to pop out there. Okay. I never picked up my backpack. Dummy. I never picked up my backpack. Well, that's fine. I don't really need coal, but technically speaking, I could use charcoal for making my steel and stuff. The only problem is that then I'm dealing with a different stack size, unless I ran it through a, well, technically speaking, but then I'm dealing with an entire different animal. So as long as I ran it through a splitter and only pulled stacks of 50, then that would work, and I could use that interchangeably. But you can't mix them, so you can't have coal and charcoal in the same recipe. No, I don't want to get too close to the base because I don't want to deal with that. Copper's a good one. That's lead. Silicon's a good one too. I actually feel silicon's more important. So let's do this. I should have backpacked, but yeah, so there might be a time of gathering. It's not necessarily Magic the Gathering, but it'll be the gathering, one way or the other. Maybe it's sorry, that's quickening I'm thinking of. Highlander. Yeah, we don't need the quickening. What's funny is I only use my jetpack to save myself. I don't use it for anything else. Okay, so let's try not to run down here at catastrophic speeds. Okay. I also need to put a ladder on this side so I can climb over my freaking stuff here. Okay. Turn the lenses off. Let's go get the backpack. It's funny stuff. But I'm really happy here. Incredibly happy that this is finally in operating range. You can see the temperature dropped a little bit more, but I'm going to load a bunch of crap through here. And can I... trying to figure out... I don't know. I think it'd actually be quicker. Yeah, that's much quicker. There we go. Chuck that in there. I am a little... Okay, so that's backed up, waiting on processing. A little confused as to... Don't feel like that should be degassing that quick. Oh, oh, oh. Why are we getting hot? Because we got some nitrous. Nitrous and... What? The temperature is definitely up there, and the pressure's... Oh, now I'm condensing. What did I throw in? Huh. I threw in nickel, right? Threw in nickel, which has nitrogen and pollutant. I threw in coal, which has pollutant and carbon dioxide. I threw in iron, that has carbon dioxide and pollutant. Oh, and silicon, which has nitrogen, pollutant, and carbon dioxide. I don't understand where the NOS came from and why it's the oxygen. I don't understand that either. That did I throw lead in too? Did I have some lead? I may have. Oh, lead has NOS. Okay. Well, that's where the NOS came from. All right. Good to know. I don't really know where the oxygen came from. I didn't get any gold. I don't know. Okay. All right. That's that. Probably may need to consider that if I'm going to throw stuff through with NOS. 3,500. And what's condensing here is NOS. Okay. Oh, that I just realized that really sucks. Because if you want to keep nitrous for fuel, more than likely you're going to be storing it as a liquid, because you either have to store it hot, or if you want to keep it below auto ignition temperature, you have to keep it in liquid form. So yeah, okay, good thought. Cooling, well, that worked. So I wonder if worthwhile to spit this back out towards you. Not necessarily. There, I think. Let's try it. Should go through and spit back out here, and hopefully... Okay. I don't want it to do the endless loop. That would be a little strange, but... Okay. Alright. So the pressure's up. I gotta think about that. Alright. Okay. But proof of concept, yep, we can mine, jam it in, and there. Sweet. Super happy with that. Super happy with that. So that's one thing off the list. Next is fun of the rest. Uh, yeah, let's trade this out just so we don't forget. So we got the deep miner. And of course, yeah, okay, so you've got reduced cooling efficiency because I'm loading all the heat into the system there. So, good to know. And at this temperature, carbon dioxide might actually be such a microcosm of pollutant. I'm not too worried about that. Wondering. Cooling loop is over here, so technically speaking, if I really wanted to... oh, this is only up to 10 megapascals after all that. What I was thinking is I could dump some carbon dioxide into here, so then I've got more cooling capacity. Not cooling capacity, thermal capacity. This is actually doing pretty good. That is... yeah, here we are. 170 degrees here. 105 degrees here, so this is creeping up in temperature because I'm loading the system. Trying to think. Almost feels like the evaporation chambers are the bottleneck here, so maybe I need more evaps. I have room for 3. Oh no, I don't even have room for 3 because this is where the airlock. Well, that's not a hard thing. So, okay, all right. Okay, squirrel. Anyway, so yeah, so this particular region is the deep miner. Jeez. Well, yeah, that's the deep miner. It's the Rose Valley, which is silver at a pretty poor level. So I may want to consider other things. Obviously, I don't really need all that much silver. And I think the next place over somewhere, I walked somewhere, and that's gold and silver. So if I needed silver, gold, that's where I'd go.
Low pressure. Oxygen low. Pressure
So with
critical.
that, let's
Oxygen critical.
go here. And I did print off deep miners and stuff I need for deep miners. I'm contemplating... oh, it's going to be the end of the bread loaf. I'm contemplating making a chip or something that's going to... oh, that's cool. Be able to provide a like a build out for something. So load up a auto lathe with everything we need to build up a deep miner site or something like that. It's not very practical. There might... you gotta think about that. There might be something to that. Because the IC10 chip does not necessarily have to run all the time. Just when you call it up. You know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to try and be a little cheesy. Yeah, this is actually working pretty well. And then switch over to seeds and ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Look at that. And now flour. Spit it out. Okay. Alright. Alright. I was saying something and completely lost track. Deep miners. Oh, yeah. IC-10 chips that are meant to have a specific loadout. So like a base or something.
Oxygen low. Low pressure. Oxygen
Outpost.
critical.
Solar array.
Pressure
Wind
critical.
turbine array.
Temperature
That sort of thing. There's some thoughts there. Just have it load up the different machines with what it needs, print it out, and it could be fun. I have a wall light just sitting there. Huh. That's another thing is I gotta get these lights and the occupancy sensor, that sort of stuff, off the mains. Okay, so my next thought is possibly take the rover out. The rover in this terrain is kind of sketchy, and I don't know what. I'm assuming that you probably take some mean damage. I don't necessarily want to test that theory.
Low pressure. Pressure
I don't know if
critical.
you're immune to damage in the rover or whatnot.
Oxygen critical.
Based on everything else I've seen in the game, I wouldn't believe that would be the case, but oh yeah, I left that up there. So lights, let's go ahead and drop off the light. Radiator kit, go ahead and drop that off. Oh, we got phase change to, oh, that's right, I don't have a place for it. Chutes, we'll go ahead and drop the chute over here. Onto this one, steel sheets. Yeah, there's a fair amount of stuff. Keep this here, all my tablets. This one I don't need at the moment. I could actually drop this off because I'm not doing any configuration at the moment. Maybe I'll switch it out with that. I don't want to do any mining. Okay, looking good. Yeah, so what do we do? Do we go mine? Or do we contemplate the next step of things? Now, the one concern that I do have is with the different ingots. So, these basic ingots, essentially any temperature over their set point. So, lead is 400 Kelvin, copper, gold, silver, that's 600. Iron and nickel is 800. Silicon is 900. What's this? 677. Oddly specific. Of volatiles. So you have to have 700 degrees of volatiles for this one. Which, technically speaking, if I really wanted to, I could make a... Because I got the degasser, so I don't have to worry about gases coming in. I could make a hot tank of volatiles to process the majority of stuff. It's a thought, and then I could actually make solid fuel if I really wanted to. That's... Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice. So 20 kilowatts of energy with kilojoules? Or, yeah. 20 kilojoules of energy. 100 kilojoules of energy. Or 200 kilojoules of energy. So, I mean, yeah, that's a thought. Anyway. That's cool. Gas fuel generator? I'm kind of curious. Did it set... I'm missing generator. Gas fuel generator. Does it tell you? No, it doesn't. Oh, darn. Just just for fun. Gases, they don't tell you. Yeah, they don't tell you any of that information. That's kind of funny. Import, export, fabricator. Wait, huh? Olga. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, here's the other part is I have to here's another thought is the chute network. How do I determine how to load a chute into that's funny, there's no digital chutes here. Powered chutes. So we're going to have the digital valves. Because there's input, output, I guess technically speaking, the valve will automatically close after a certain number of items have passed through. The threshold can be set using the dial. Okay. That's kind of cool in a way. That's interesting. I'm trying to remember. I thought I had a digital valve left. There's flip-flop and splitters. Okay. So one of the thoughts that I had was to have a chute network, and I'm going to bring up my expert notepad here. We're going to have, so here's the bus, right? So let's say that our ingots are coming in from the furnace and going to the furnace to production machines, right? This is the general direction. But as we go, we have T's in the line of some kind. And I'd have to figure this out. That if we want to go down to the auto lathe, electronics printer, pipe bender, tool printer, blah, 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 blah. So we have a valve that, I'm trying to think how we would do this. Right? So if we have a valve immediately following each T, if the T is actually an overflow, right? So if this is blocked, then the overflow will dump this into the whatever's down there. So let's say this is the auto lathe. Auto lathe, electronics printer, pipe bender, tool printer, rocket, whatever. So, this valve. So if I want it in the auto lathe, I shut this valve and it forces it down here through the overflow. This item can't pass through here. Dump it here. Once ordering system or fulfilled requirements, open this back up, go to the end, or and this may be. Wonder if this would loop back or this is just by default. I don't think I should ever see something making it past anything. So just have a specific valve, chute valve for this specific machine, and then it just passes the ingots through in an overflow manner. So it tries to push it straight through till it reaches an obstruction, then dumps it. I think that's the cleanest way to do it, looking at it in quote-unquote on paper here. So there's a lot. So that's a thought. So... Ooh. Air handling room. Well, I'm not going to be dumping any more. Oh, hey, we have a storm coming in. About time. About time. Next question. Should I... I'm going to do it. I'm going to put my suit on, just in case, but there's no reason for me not to do this right now. Put the suit on, just in case. You heard me here.
Power low.
Okay. So what I'm thinking is to go ahead and put the airlock, quote-unquote airlock door in here. So I got to be careful because this is going to try and suck me in. This could go good, this could go bad. So let's pop this here. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. Because I think... Alright, let's do this. Just in case. Alright. Actually, if I put my face into it... Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Door! Composite door. Oh, I need glass. There we go. So now we have a path. To blast. Alright, let's pop this open, see how we are over here. Okay, we got low pressure, but that's fine. You have an airlock. Got low temperature. Alright, cool. Yeah. That's actually not too bad. Okay, alright. That's not as scary as I thought it was going to be. So we got a lot of room here. Alright. Okay, go ahead and give it a bit words. I'm going to throw that in there for right now. You are... Yes, you're the passive vent through the base. That's what you are. And you're responsible for keeping this area cool. Alright. That actually meshes surprisingly well. I wonder if it'd be better to put a T or something. Okay. So now we don't have to run outside to get to the production room. We have a way through. That's what I really wanted to do. And make sure we're not gonna... Well, we got a pretty good ballast in this area. I'm gonna run through here. It's probably gonna say oxygen low. Surprisingly, right here is fine. What point? It's gonna be right about here. Right about here? Right about here. We're getting down to low pressures. Oh? Oh? Surely this corner. This corner! Oh? We have breathable atmosphere all the way over here. That's cool. Oh, sweet. Which means if it's breathable over here, then the rest of the base is definitely going to be breathable. Even at low pressures. So. There's the storm. Okay. Awesome. And you can see that we're 95% oxygen, so don't light a match. Excellent. Excellente. Alright. So it does... Okay. So there's that. We're probably going to leave a little bit of room for servicing, for sure. Okay, so now we've got, next up, figuring on the... I don't know how many furnaces I need, or different ways of heating, cooling. So there's argument to be had that I can have one super hot furnace. So for everything that requires a minimum temperature but not a maximum, the highest of that is stellite at 1800 Kelvin. Let's just do this. So so stellite at 1800 Kelvin pressure's not going to be a big thing, because I can use an advanced furnace, because that's what I'm going to have to use to pull in gases, pressure control this gas. So that's going to take care of most everything. So that's going to leave, in particular, solder. It's going to leave Invar as well. Waspaloy and Hastelloy. So Hastelloy is low temp. Well, very tight temp, let's put it that way. So this one in particular is probably going to have basically its own furnace. Wrong button. So Hastelloy. Waspaloy, on the other hand, is something you could really easily make in the Venus atmosphere. You could literally use Venusian atmosphere to make it, just high pressure. That's not a problem. And then there's solder, which is below Venusian atmosphere. That's the challenging one. So this may itself require a specific furnace. And let's see, what's the other one? Invar. Now, Invar is kind of forgiving, but it's got a pressure. So this is, technically speaking, solder and Waspaloy can operate in the same temperature range. So if we had a furnace running 500 degrees, it would match solder, and it would match Waspaloy. So we could take two out with a second furnace. And then we've got the Invar is 1200 to 1500. And then the other is Hastelloy, which is 950 to 1 Kelvin. So those may need their own furnaces, or at the very least some switching network or whatever. And maybe there could be at least 3 tanks. So that's another option, is that the 4 different tanks, not necessarily furnaces, but if we're going to that point, I think just 4 furnaces might as well. So then, yeah. So then the next question is the when we go to this recipe here. So we have this up here. We have the temperature controls. Do we need to actually have this in here, or do we leave this here and have a specific furnace for the temperature range? So if we've got a furnace that runs hot, which we could even almost determine that based on this. So if it's just 1800 to, 65535, say, oh, just use the hot one. Do we do that? I don't know. If we have 4 separate furnaces that are going to be probably in their 4 separate rooms, because they're going to have 4 separate temperatures. All with a back pressure regulator. I don't think that they will need a forward pressure regulator, because that would be silly. Just so you think about that. Back pressure regulator. Yeah, because they're going to heat up over time, and it's going to increase the pressure in the room. So yeah, so we will want a back pressure regulator on all of them. So I think we might lean for the furnace hash of what has to... which one has to control the reaction. So if we do that, I'm just going to throw these in. So let's say we've got the... do we want the 4 furnaces in here or 4 furnaces up there? Let's see. The ores are going to be here. They have to be processed, so... it's just 1, 2... if we pack them in like sardines, right? Yeah, we could actually do that and leave a little bit of room here, right? So we'll have our serviceability of this array of stuff. Then our 4 furnaces in a row with the ordering system. Probably similar to how I was planning the production machines of having their own dedicated chute. Oh, that flares pretty nice. And then they all join their output and go up to the storage silos, which, again, there's going to be, what, 17 of them? Yeah, 17 sounds like a good number. Yeah, so each step of the way. And then the shipper is going to interact with this side and those silos. The automated furnaces are going to react with those silos and these silos. Yeah, okay, so that's where we go. So 4 advanced furnaces, I think, are in order. Let's go ahead and... I don't... you probably got the stuff for it. Or at least the start of stuff. Advanced furnace. And before I go too crazy...
Low pressure. Pressure critical. Oxygen critical.
do I have one? I don't think I have an advanced furnace. I do have an advanced furnace. Not exactly sure why I've got an advanced furnace, but I got one. Okay. Take that with me. Let's just take some of this crap with me. I feel like it's a good opportunity to clean up my shelf over here a little bit, because that's outdated storage. Yeah, okay.
Low pressure.
So we'll go drop this stuff
Oxygen
off.
critical. Pressure critical. Temperature critical.
Iron sheets. Iron wall. I didn't grab iron frames, but that's fine. Can keep that there. Steel sheets. Ice crusher goes elsewhere. So I only need three furnaces. Running from the correct thing. Copper, steel, electrum. Oh, Lord. Oh, my. My. Okay. Did it? It didn't need silver, right? Silicon I don't have. Copper and gold. Electrum. I don't have much of that left. Solder and silicon. Solder. I don't have any. Well, I have to process the silicon. Steel, electrum. Okay, so steel, electrum, and silicon are all things I need. Okay. Just know something. Okay. One, two, three, four. Okay. Steel. How much iron do we have in here? 1, 2, 3. Coal. Two gold. Your silver. 2 silver. There we go. Alright. Got everything I need. I will need to put on my suit. Go
Hunger caution.
process this. Well, let's double check that. Silicon. I need 3. Got enough gold. Got enough copper. So steel, electrum, got enough solder, and silicon. Okay, so works for me. It's fewer airlocks to go out this way. So guess what we're doing? We're going out here.
Power low.
Yeah, we'll do this. We'll throw the required things in the production machine. Let it go. So let's see. Let's start off with the hot one, which is steel. Okay, got the temperature. Good. Electrum, I'm going to have to bring the pressure down. So we'll do electrum last. Okay, there's steel. then. There we go, there's that. Look at the correct thing. What did I say? Three ingots. Yeah, that'll give me the silicon I need. That was a 4. Okay. Silicon I need, and then there's the electrum right here. Okay, and electrum requires 2.4 megapascals maximum. So basically, wait for the green light and then pull the lever, Kronk. Okay. Alright, there we go. Oh god, that's gonna suck me in. I better back up. I do not need that right now. Okay, we good? We good? Where's my electrum? Really? I don't think that's how that works. But okay, if and you say so. Yeah, that's the problem. All my airlocks are backwards. That's just the way it goes. That's okay. All right, so we're gonna throw this in to the production machine. Let it do its thing.
Oxygen low. Hydration critical. Pressure critical. Oxygen critical. Temperature critical.
Okay, let it do its thing, and we'll take a quick break here. Take care of whatever you need to. So, do I leave this running? No, I'm not going to leave this running because we're going to run out of food and water. So I will pause real quick, and we'll be right back. See you in a second. Okay, I'm back. So it occurred to me that I should probably come up with a little waiting screen or something. It's a little more entertaining than staring at a pause screen. Anyway, get that printing off. Food and drink. So I did realize that I should really think about finishing up, but I have a full cup of coffee I have to plow through, so there's that. So I think we'll plow through and start getting the furnaces set up. I will leave them to their own devices. Oh, actually I don't need to shower.
Low pressure. Oxygen low.
Advanced furnace. electronic parts, and steel sheets. So we need 4 electronic parts per. I'm trying to remember if we got enough electronic parts.
Oxygen critical.
Otherwise,
Pressure critical.
excuse me.
Temperature critical.
You still? Whatever. Not you. You. Ice crushers. Go ahead and put. I'm gonna have to open up a second one here. I'm gonna put devices over here, I think. Gonna do that. And maybe liquid type stuff over here. I don't know. Something. Something. Nothing in that cardboard box. I thought I had a cardboard box floating around with electronics parts, but maybe I don't. I just have this. Okay, that'll work. Steel sheets aren't going to be... Well, that's going to be enough specifically for what we're doing here. Go through here. Oh, Well, that's really not going to work. Okay. Oh, crap. Okay. So let's consider options here. So we've got our, I think it's electronics parts first. Welding torch and steel sheets. So let's start this up. Screwdriver. Okay, so we'll have a furnace. Okay. Alright, so each of these needs a little bit more space. Alright. Let's pull out the chutes so I can illustrate that. Take that. And figure out how we're going to lay this out. So 6, okay, that's enough to get us started. So, if I stagger them front and back a little bit, so we can see that there's that, and there's that, and then we will, this is the closest we can put it together, right? Man. So you can see that it is now off by 1. So we have to keep that in mind. And then we can drop another one if we want to put it in this. The chutes aren't a problem. But the problem that I'm seeing here is that this is going to start where they start combating each other, and then their particular temperature off-gassing and whatnot is going to start interfering with the others. So unless I do like top and bottom to... Okay, that's another thought. Does this need it needs a frame. Okay. Just trying to think of how to do this most effectively, efficiently. Because what we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. So that's not going to work. So if we do 2 per, and that will get us. Gotta be careful that I don't punch a hole in the floor and wall and all that. Okay, so. Oh, wait a minute. This actually is fine. I could reduce it down to 2 if I do it this way. Yeah. Okay, so let's, so steel frame. We do it this way. Alright. Could even do this. Do. Okay. What the heck? I don't know what that was. Oh. I didn't realize this could be used in that manner. Let's go back into first person. That actually worked. That worked out. That was kind of neat. Okay, so we do this. Not that. Alright. Okay, so we do the good old over-under type right here. So, I don't necessarily feel bad doing this if I put flooring in stuff. That's another thing. I don't think you can... No, okay. So if we go like this, right? Do it this way, then we do this way. We would have a... I can actually pull these forward 1 notch. Oh, because, yeah, I did that. Okay, alright, jeez. Right, that looks better. Okay, so... Okay, wire cutters. So that's definitely the way you remove electronic parts. And then the hand drill. Okay. All right. This looks okay to me. Oh, okay. You don't even need the screwdriver. Be careful not to weld up the frame. Okay, then put a window in. I guess we could put windows in all around and make it look like a frame of some kind. Yeah, I don't really like cheesing it like this. Oops, that one's gonna have to stay. Until I get the other. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I think that's what we'll do with that. It's not my favorite way of doing it, but hey, do what you gotta do, essentially. So I'll put this in. That looks good. Let's go ahead and grind this off right now. Electronic parts, steel sheets, weld it up, and then screwdriver. Okay, so the idea is then we have import and output. So input are all on this side. do that. I think that's how it's going to work. And then we're going to have valves. Ooh, we're going to have to space it out for that. Okay. Alright, well. Well, that's the end of the, that's the end of the iron. Anyway, so shoot straight. Essentially, that's what's going to happen, one way or the other. And the outputs can all be conjoined twins. That doesn't matter, because they would be going up to a sorter system for ingots. And quite frankly, I feel like I need to turn these things off after a certain amount of inactivity on something. I don't know. Okay, electronics parts. Alright. Walls. Just plain walls, silicon sheets, glass sheets. Need to dump the steel. Okay, there's the steel. Walls. Just regular wall. I'm gonna make a stack of those. And we're gonna need plastic sheets after that. I can at least get the floor window in. That's the thought. Do I want to do a floor window? Debating on how I want to do this, because double-decker window maybe? So we're certainly going to be doing this, so we can see them doing their processing. And I feel that we will, at minimum, want to do, oh my goodness, this. Yeah, that might be okay. Because we're not, I mean, if we're up high, yeah, alright, let's try, just for proof of concept. Yeah, because that's clearly where I wanted that. Okay. 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 There's that. Let's chop you. I feel like you would be best served by just going straight across. And then we got to figure out the logistic part of that. I think that works pretty well. Okay, just double checking things. Ah! That's not how you do it. You don't do that. Plastic sheets. Let's go ahead and crack that open. You need silicon, which is right there. Chuck. Okay. All right, now. Feel like that and that. Okay, there is that. That looks okay. Do we want to do a... That's a good question. How do I want to handle that? We're going to have insulated tanks per. Does a... Oh, I forget. Does a small... It does. Okay, so we could fit. All right. Iron. I got it in my... I left it on the floor. Yeah, let's go do this real quick. Okay.
Power low.
Yeah, I got to convert that over here eventually. Need to switch that over so I can access what I'm doing without necessarily getting sucked in. Okay. Okay, there's that. We'll go ahead and cycle it. Just for completeness, I guess. And this will give me the iron I need to make chutes and ladders. Chutes, and more chutes. Okay. Definitely need more chutes. Wow. You throw like a girl. Chutes and ladders. Basic chutes. What was that? That was 100. That's, well, okay. Let's do that. Yeah. So while those are printing off, my thoughts are to have... They're going to have insulated tanks. Or do they even need to be insulated? I feel that it might be okay to... I guess the tank is going to be... All right. Do I want to do a tank or just inline pipes? Feel like either way could be a problem. So here's my thought. Well, we're definitely going to need a tank. So so super hot tank. That's going to handle most of the stuff. Electrum has to be able to go down to 2.4 megapascals. And the other thing it'll be handling, Astroloy, needs to be able to go up to 30 megapascals. So I've got a humongous range there. So the hot tank and whatever runs the solder and the Waspaloy have to have huge capacities. Because the Waspaloy has to go up to 50 megapascals, and no, you know what? Actually, solder technically can run at 50 megapascals. I don't necessarily want to be listening to it groaning all the time, but that's a possibility. I could just run that tank at 50,000. Or second tank at 50 megapascal. Pascal. And then if we, Invar is going to run a single, that's the only thing on that one. And the Hastaloy will be also on its own at a very specific range. So the hot tank is the only one that has to be able to dump. Okay, so we only need one tank. And the rest can be inline tanks for the accessories and whatnot. I feel like each one's going to have a hot and cold. Now the 500 degrees Kelvin. Yeah, so the solder and Waspaloy, they can heat up using Venus atmosphere. That'll be fine. And everything will cool down using the phase change device output if need be. Now, all right, I'm going to write this down on my notes. So the Invar furnace, I'm going to target for 19 megapascal, and that's going to run at, that's strictly one thing, so 1250 Kelvin works fine. So that can cool using Venus atmosphere, actually. So maybe that's what that needs to be hooked up to. And hot has to be pipe heaters or combustion or something like that, or super hot output. Maybe from my H2 combustor. Maybe that's going to be the hot line. Now that doesn't necessarily work for the super hot. That might have to have a pipe heater on it. But the Hastaloy is going to run at, let's just say 27 megapascal, and that's going to be running a very tight 975 Kelvin. Also can be cooled using Venus atmosphere, and so one is going to be 2.4 to, what did I say, 30 megapascal. That's when it's going to be the biggest range, in 1800 plus. So these are all cooled by Venus. This one particularly heats by Venus. Yeah, so there's only one that's going to be actually potentially dumping heat into my cooling system. And that's the one that I can't use Venus atmosphere for, even during a storm. So that's the thought. And the others are cooled by Venus and then heat by... let's get another color pen here. This will be heat by H2 combustor. And then the other one's going to have to be maybe a combination. Because the combustor could run that temperature And I might have to use a pipe heater as well. Or some kind of combustion method. If I was running a combustion centrifuge, that might be a little bit less of a problem. And that might be in the future. It depends on how much mining I need and all that fun stuff. So that's a big thought process here. How are we doing here? Everybody's turned off except, well, there's O2 and pollute. The NOS is, yeah, it's because of the temperatures and the pressure. Actually, it's kind of interesting that the pollutant is basically gone, other than maybe a microcosm. Yeah, they're barely there. So if I really wanted to reduce the pressure a little bit, I'll throw that carbon dioxide filter in there. Until that starts. What do I got to get it down to? So we're at 117 right now. So 1.6. So it's actually not. What the heck? Not that far away. Yeah, I just heard the N2O kick on because it's starting to evaporate. And you can see the nitrogen concentration is already coming up, so that's good. Very good. Blech. If I go over here, that's not much better. 30% nitrogen. And of course that's increasing, so yeah. There'll probably be a couple things here, so I'm going to wait till the stress disappears. So 158 I think is what the pressure was, so we'll take it down just a little more. We're almost there. We're down to milliliters. About to be micrometers. Liters. Microliters. Yeah, almost doesn't even register anymore. Okay, that's good enough for me. I'll throw that back in there, call it good. Oh, you know what? I just realized. I need to reset that. Yeah. Yep, now that's going to be annoying, but because the pollutant's there and not. Same with NOS and O2. But I'm not really going to complain about that. Pipes and stuff. So I did come to the conclusion that there is only one tank that's got to be hot. And this is probably a wrench thing, right? Oh, angle grinder. This might have to be somewhere else. You know what? I'll save that for later. Because they're all going to have to be able to connect to this coolant line. So I'm going to need... Okay, I take that back. Only one of them is going to have to connect to that coolant line. The orange right here... They all have to connect to that. So one will be heating, and the other three will be cooling. So... Well, that's another thought. If I... Yeah, whatever. Okay, alright. We're getting there. So one of these has to have a tank. I guess I basically got to start laying stuff out to actually see where things are going to fall. That's going to be the trickiest part of all. So, heat exchangers. direct heat exchanger. I need 8 of these. Yeah, 8 of these. You're okay. Cranking away. All right, so let's start plumbing. I think we can take the chute. Yeah, we're going up like that. Now, we don't want window. Okay, there's outputs. And those are going to go out. Just because I don't want to be using my jetpack all the time. Okay. Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay. I think this will be fine. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. Okay. Over here, straight 5, not 10, 5. Why are you having such a hissy fit? Oh my goodness. Straight 5. And then, I guess we'll do it this way. Point that way. That's the way the chute's gonna go. Okay, let's go get a couple more chutes. Definitely need to go out there mining some iron. Iron. Okay. Another 11. We'll use it. So yeah, definitely need to consider the going out and getting more of that stuff. So that's the output side of things. And we'll have it spaghetti over and shoot up through there. Is that that's a junction, isn't it? Oh, so the input, yeah. Okay, so I can, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot. So that's the junction coming in. So that pipe up top is for ores of all kinds. Including whatever we bring in from outside, and then I can unload a backpack in here. So that's a good thought. So we can spaghetti a little bit over there. There's yeah, we'll have to do it in front of the pipe. So we'll come over here and then come over a couple notches and spaghetti it in and push it up.
Hydration critical.
Yeah, that'll work. Oh, right, let's go get those heat exchangers. No, you know what? Food and water. Oh, good, they do stack.
pressure. Pressure critical. Oxygen low. Oxygen critical.
Okay,
Temperature
food and
critical.
water.
Low pressure.
Try
Low. Pressure
figuring out
critical.
what I want to do with the heat exchangers.
Oxygen critical. Temperature critical.
We'll see. I really do eventually have to do the deep miner thing or the rocket miner. Maybe I'll just do rocket miner. Maybe that's the way to go. Wow, I still don't need a shower? That's cool. That is
Oxygen
cool.
low. Low pressure.
You know, it'd be cool for a sensor
Oxygen
lens to have a
critical.
to-do list.
Pressure critical.
So you could activate it and have a little
Low
list like
pressure.
over here.
Oxygen low. Pressure critical.
Kind of neat.
Oxygen critical.
Alright, so we've got our chutes. Okay. Fill in the gap there. I'm actually not going to bother with that. So input. Trying to think it's the easiest way to go about this. Obviously 10's too much. 5. Why won't you orient the way I want you to? Right? Trying to think. So if we go straight down, you would think, yeah, actually we could, yeah. Well, the order system would be coming from this direction. Okay. So we'd be looking at, just going to put a regular valve. Right, so after the fact, so we got this. Overflow, right? Apparently I am out of range of my thing. So here's the overflow. That's going to be a problem. Let's get off the ladder. I'm going to go switch out with my...
Low pressure. Oxygen
No, I'm not.
low. Pressure critical. Oxygen
I was going to say I was going to switch out with my
Pressure critical.
beacon, except I moved that over to the rover. Rover, red rover. Alright, so let's... hopefully I don't forget that I did this. Just putting a big battery in there for now. Just because I want to get this done.
Low pressure. Oxygen low. Pressure critical. Oxygen critical.
So only one of these silos actually need... or silos. Furnaces need to have a storage tank, so that's good. The rest can be just pre-packaged. Okay, so here's the thought. Right, so here's the input. So here's the... it would be the digital filter for this furnace. You close this off, make it over... Why does that overflow look weird? Overflow. This is the way it's supposed to be. Okay, yeah, I think I had that wrong. So it's going to come from this side. This valve's going to shut. That forces it into this furnace. Otherwise, we have another overflow. Come on, point the direction I want you to. Right, this, and then a valve. So yeah, okay, so we can make that work. That does interfere with this a little bit if I do it that manner. Or I can, since those would be digital valves, maybe loop it back and put it, yeah, okay. We can make it look a little spaghetti-ish. But here's the thought. So, all right, so bus line coming in, boop, 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 boop. This specific digital valve, pretend it's a digital valve, is for this furnace. This furnace needs reagents. So it closes this valve, makes all the ingredients flow into here. Once that's met, open up, doesn't care, does its thing, spits it out. This furnace down here needs something, closes its valve, which I can't actually get to because it's embedded in the ceiling. Anyway, closes the valve, overflows, dumps it in. Okay, I think we can make that work. Heat exchangers. So how do we want to do this? So we're going to have... Oh, that's something I didn't think about. Okay, so in light of that, that just, okay. So we'll be doing gas to gas. Can't quite chuck it in. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. If we do, I think we could even do that. That might work. That does hang out a little bit. So we'll have the input and the output maybe. It was just brainstorming. So each of those, first off, these don't require placement on a frame. That's good. I'm going to grab these because I would be using uninsulated pipe, I figure. So that might be consideration. Also, actually, let's leave that open. Okay, so that being a thought, right? So if that's the case, then we will want to probably... Just trying to think of how this is going to work for the one that has to have a tank. So a tank might be separate. So, okay, so we'll do that, right? And input, output. These are basically going to be tied together. Pull this out. So prototyping, right? Okay, let's do this. Yeah, let's do it this way. This would make sense. Okay, so this is what each furnace would basically look like. And then we'd have one's hot, one's cold. Just for fun, just for fun. We're going to do this, right? So where do I get that set up? So let's say that it's just running here. And this is the cold. This would have a digital valve right here, in fact. And then we'd have a hot tank. Our hot line, whatever we're using for something like that. But obviously that doesn't work for the top one. Okay. because of where that chute is. Now, if we went up, actually, no, hang on. Oh, you know what? The top furnace could be pointing up with the heat exchangers. Right? Okay. It's getting into the weeds here. So we're doing this. So this is what the heat exchangers look like from... Stop it! What? That actually is how they are. So, okay. So now the hot... Oh, these would have to have separate separate valves. So that does get tricky here. Okay, hang on. Let's see. You... Crap. So, alright, okay, so the way that would have to work then would be that those go on top. So the heat exchangers are up. Ah, don't fall off, don't fall off. Yeah, okay, fall off. Yeah, just use the frickin' jetpack. Hey, Mumanji and Raiders, welcome aboard. Just doing a little bit of logistical layout here. Trying to figure out how my auto smelting system's gonna work. Think that'll do that trick. Okay. And then if this is where... Yeah, there we go. Okay, so... And then... Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, there we go. Alright. Proof of concept. Proof of concept. Throw that on the floor. And, yeah, okay. Whoa. There we go, another valve. You're tighter, which... Technically speaking, we could throw this up a line, or a row. Yeah, that would work. That would be more symmetrical. Yeah, that would work. I just have to readjust where our cooling line is. That's not a big deal. Okay, let's go ahead and throw these guys back in the shelf. And grab another, yep, you guys. Okay. Proof of concept. And then, similar to the one, it's just mirror image of the way the bottom one's connected here. This will work. Up, and then there we go. Okay. So now, yeah, so our cooling, whatever we're using for cooling. Of course, this could be complicated. Because there's so many options. So that's one option. One is Venus atmosphere. One is the actual cool line. And then the other one that I'm thinking of would be the hot pipe output from the either like, I don't know if a gas fuel generator puts off heat. Gas centrifuge. H2 combustor. So anything that can boost the heat to ridiculous levels, ludicrous levels, you could even say, they've gone to plaid. All right, yeah, so that would be 3. So super hot line, super cold line, and Venus line. That would actually, yeah, so 3 lines. And I got enough, yeah, okay. I can do one more line up above, orange. Okay, yeah, all right, that makes sense. That'll work. Make this all nice and neat, and digital valves. Ooh. How do I want to handle that? How do I want to handle that? So, digital valve for gas has one type. Interesting. Whoops. Oh, does each one of these need to have... I don't want to have an IC10 chip running for each one of these. I guess I could do it with the stack and name things. Yeah, maybe that's the way to do it. Pull up my notepad here and show my thoughts for that. So for the furnace, then we're going to have the hot valve. We'll have the cold valve. I should say cooling valve. And heating valve. Cooling. Heating valve. Let's see. Then there's the shoot digital valve. Digital shoot input digital valve. That one would be the name hash of the furnace. Which I'd probably do 00. Or I should say XX. And heating valve, name hash, probably be something like this. Since I can't get away from that. Yeah, that might be the way. So I have to have at least 3 addresses in the stack per device that I'm cycling through. So I'll have 00, then 00HV and 00CV. And then the next byte would be 01, 01 heating valve, 01 cooling valve for name hash. I don't know if there's any string functions. I don't know if there's any concatenation type stuff. Yeah, that would be cool for string handling. Because obviously I'm just doing 00 and HV, so if I could just do my name hash plus HV, that'd be great. But I don't think we have any string handling functions at the moment. So I don't know if we ever really will, but it's a thought. Yeah. It's a thought. So I think we're stuck with manually loading the stack, different addresses for that. And we disconnect heating, cooling as we need. And then possibly, okay, just possibly, here's another thought. Possible pipe heater for that. Because the one furnace that needs to run super hot for, was it Stellite? Yeah, Stellite needs 1800 degrees. That potentially may need pipe heaters to augment the heating. Okay. But that pipe heater can use the name hash of the device, so I don't need another stack value because it'd be all or nothing on that. These are mutually exclusive. So yeah, okay, that's fine. All right, that'll work. Okay, and then next up, hot tank for all right, so I could actually put the tank for the one furnace. This literally only leaves room for one inline tank. That's two up there. Is that a problem? These may also need a back pressure. No. What do I want to do? I gotta think about that. Or do these just run at... Oh, wait a minute. This is getting a little more complicated. Alright, so I just realized, got too laser focused here. So we've got the, have a 70 liter capacity. The heat exchanger is, okay, it doesn't actually have any. Okay, so we have 70 liter of capacity for this. If this is hot or cold, it's not influenced directly by this without it's the atmosphere in the room that it affects it. So would it make sense to put pipe radiators now these would be convection radiators, so maybe that's what I need to do a convection. That would probably be the call here. Pipe radiators in this tiny room. That might be the call. Oh dear. Okay, hang on. Advanced furnace. Oh, this is okay. I just had to got to thinking about this. So temperature. Interesting. So one of the things I just realized is that I can't actually read the temperature of, like, specifically the input pipe or the output pipe or anything like that. It's just the temperature of what's in the combustion chamber, or I should just say the chamber, not combustion. So let's run the example. This is up and running. The furnace is cold. It needs to heat up. So it kicks the heater on, or the heat exchanger for the heating heat exchanger on, to warm up the room, essentially. This pipe, let's say, gets up to stupid temperature. So maybe we're trying to make solder and it's at room temperature. We want to get it up to 100 degrees. So we connect it to our really hot line, which brings it up to, or tries bringing this pipe up to 1800. It starts convecting, gets to the point where it's now too hot, and then it goes back to cool. I could see a problem there. So I think we're going to have a crap. We're going to have a pipe sensor for sure. And is this actually a thing now? 360, 250, 100. So this is 100. This is 120. This is 125. So this is the best. Okay. Okay. So 250. So 4 of these inline tanks would be the equivalent of. Oh, is there room in it? Okay. Would be the equivalent of this chamber. All right. Okay. 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 All right. Here's another thought. This. Yeah, so 4 inline tanks, I think. So I'd stack them here. So 1, 2, and then all the piping I need, and then 1, 2. So then I'd have like 1,200, 1,300 liters out here. We're going to be generous with that. Wrong tablet. Okay, so run that scenario again. This needs to heat up. Now, what about changing it so the input and the output are, say, it's cycling. Just for fun. So 20 liters. So 20 liters in, 20 liters out. Or maybe making sure that... Is there any time I need to know what this is? I probably still need to make sure that this doesn't go outside of bounds. It's the only thing I can think of. But having it cycle what's in the furnace, so I don't have to rely completely on convection and radiation in the space. Yeah, okay. Off into the weeds. I'm sorry, guys. Trying to troubleshoot problems before I actually have them. And, yeah, okay. So, and then up there, again, 2 tanks. Okay. I think we can do that. And with similar, ideally similar capacities here, or pressures and capacities and everything, we shouldn't get to the point where we end up blowing up a pipe because it should level out if they're about equal. One would think for the furnace. So I know I've done it before on my old Mars base where I was purging the furnace into a much smaller capacity pipe network. And you notice it particularly when you're making like Waspaloy or something. 50 megapascals in the furnace at 1,000 liters, and you dump into 30 liter space. 50 megapascals becomes 150 real fast. And I was running straight volatiles because I was making hydrocarbons. So you can imagine how that went when it dumped into my oxygen-rich environment. Okay, so, but I think we'll be okay. If I put those tanks on there, I still need a sensor. Still need a pipe sensor. Okay.
Hunger caution.
Yes. Fire! Wow. Okay, so also pipe sensor. Pipe. Well, actually, it's an analyzer, but whatever. And this will be a name hash XX. That'll work. And then I'll just make sure that keeps inbound. So I still only need 3 addresses. The name hash, name hash HV, name hash CV. That'll work. Let's go eat and drink. Still don't need a shower. That's awesome. Space myself. If I can hit the button.
Low pressure. Oxygen low. Pressure critical. Oxygen critical. Temperature critical.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I have... Wow, I still have 50 liters of water available for me to drink. And over here... 50 liters of water ready to dump. Okay. So I got 100 liters of water, easily. Not counting what's in the plants right now. Which I should check that out.
Oxygen critical. Pressure critical.
100 liters in here, so technically 200 liters overall. That's a lot. Okay. It's like a swimming pool's worth, isn't it? Small swimming pool, of course. Small. Kiddie pool. I could drink a kiddie pool. Alright. Pressures and temperatures look good in here. Oh, yeah, before I forget. Yeah, I mentioned that I don't have safeties. What are we running over here? We're up to 22 megapascals in here. Okay. I really need to do that. So anyway, I'm going to turn that off. Just to make sure that I don't give myself problems by forgetting about it. That would be bad. What? What? Okay. Sure, we'll go with that. Oh, crap. I forgot to change out the battery in my portable light. Yeah, breathe a breath. All right. Go back to vacuum.
Low pressure. Oxygen low. Pressure critical. Oxygen critical.
Switch this up before I forget. Before I forget. Yeah, crikey. Yeah, that doesn't do it for me. Oh my goodness. Pick it up. Okay. Alright. That way future me doesn't hate past me. That's my thought there.
Oxygen critical. Pressure critical.
There we are. I don't think I was printing anything. I was running off, so. Okay. Oops. This is not World of Warcraft. You can't do that. Yeah, so let's write down a couple things here. Ooh. Somebody's been mean to my notepad. Half of it's gotten ripped off. Okay. So I need to build, I'm going to say 8 extra utility kits, utility gas kits per furnace. 1 pipe analyzer per furnace. 2 digital valves per furnace. My shopping list. Think 1 digital chute, or digital chute. I'm just gonna write it digital chute. It's powered. Digital chute, furnace. What else did I figure that I needed? Pipe analyzer, 2 digital valves, pipe kits, overpressure. I don't think I need a pressure regulator on these. Might not be a bad idea for an emergency. Maybe a way to load it too, because the minimum pressure I need minimum of 2 megapascals in each furnace. Minimum. Most of these, well, no, it's going to be preset. That's the with the exception of the hot furnace that has to be dynamic between 2 megapascals and 30 megapascals. Okay. Then the one for Waspoy and solder is going to be noisy. And I might have it dump some. Yeah, we'll worry about the details later. I got the heat exchangers. More pipes. Insulated pipes. Out the wazoo. Ins pipe. Out the wazoo. Shoots out the wazoo. And then silos. Let's count my silos. Just making a shopping list for tomorrow. And I might have to consider doing rocketry of some kind. Oh. I didn't think about that. I might have to start automating my Larry. So I've never done the rocketry, but I know you need fuel. That's a thing. So I can do volatiles, no problem. I can go to what type of pumped gas rocket. Yep. And then is this just specifically? Wait, rockets. There we go. Maybe there we go. Let's say atmospherics. There's power storage cables. Yes, obviously payload chutes, umbilicals. Just want the engine. What type of engines? There we go. That's what I want to see. So pumped gas, pressure-fed gas, pressure-fed liquid, pumped liquid, heavy pressure. Okay, so probably my first start is just going to be pumped gas. Pressure fed would be a little bit down the line. So yeah, pumped gas, I think that's where we're running with that. Pumped gas runs on a 2-to-1 mix of volatiles to oxygen. What are we looking? 16 kilonewtons at 4. What about, just for fun, pressure fed? Okay, so this definitely has a higher thrust. Exhaust velocity is actually less. 394, 411 specific impulse. That's kind of interesting. Pumped gas, pressure fed. All right. Max thrust, but the velocity's lower. And I don't. Well, I'm on Venus, so this is going to be a power-hungry son of a gun. Because yeah. What about liquid? Okay, liquid you can get a higher escape velocity, but less thrust. Pumped liquid, which okay, yeah. Well, that's pretty neat. What? How do you? Wait a minute. What? I mean, it's a game, but still. I know it's a game, but how do you have an efficiency greater than 100%? Heavy pressure. Still, it's kind of interesting, the specific impulses. Whatever. So maximum thrust, that's fine. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, gas. I guess that's the way we're going to go with that. Fun times. So we might explore that eventually. But that does mean that I need to have fuel. So I know there's a big squirrel there. But that does mean that I need to get my volatiles rolling, which I'm probably going to make a switchgrass farm. And I'm thinking I might go the route of Harvey. Oh, hang on. Well, I don't know. I guess I could name them individually. Or do I just go cycle through them all at the same time? Because Larry would be kind of cool. And there might be some power efficiency to using one Larry and having them go through everything. Or do I do just a bunch of Harveys and have them operate in unison? I don't know. I don't know about that. I've never played with Harvey. One insulated tank before I forget. And that'll be for the hot gas. And then we'll go from there. So, okay. Alright, fun things are going to be in our future. And it's just a matter of what we want to do first. But I think that's a very good spot to... I got a bunch of crap in my backpack I should have taken care of, but that's just the way it is. And it ran later than I was planning to, but I just get squirreled away when I'm doing the programming stuff, so I got highly distracted by plotting out how the auto furnace is going to go. Wow, I'm still 103, 105, 110. Oh, okay. All right. 150. Okay. Goes up all the way. Cool. That's awesome. My little Garden of Eden here. So yeah, I may need to set up something so my switchgrass production is going. I did put a pause on it because I've got my my inline pipe network, my inline tank pipe network for storage of volatiles is pretty close to capacity, and I've got 200 liters of water, so I've not been doing that. Although it doesn't necessarily mean that I can't mix fuel and start doing stuff like the combustion centrifuge, gas fuel generator, stuff like that. Or even I didn't think about this, the engine kit here, pumped gas. 2-to-1 mix, so this is also pre-mixed. Okay, so there's pre-mixed. I think I might even do pressure fed. Pressure fed moves gas from each of its two inputs based on the pressure of its input pipes, controlling the mixing ratio of the fuels by tweaking the input pressures to target a 2-to-1 mix. Okay, so the pressure fed might be actually the way that I want to go about it. Yeah, that's probably the way that I'll do it. Then I can keep the fuel separate. Because that just sounds like a better idea to me. So then we would have to make sure that our volatiles is at twice the storage capacity on the rocket, and we pump it to the same pressure, or base it on. It probably should base it on a Muller weights, but yeah, we'll worry about that when I actually start building a rocket, and laugh spectacularly when that one blows up. Hopefully not on the ground with me right next to it. That's the other part. So I think, that's absolutely a good place to go. Jeez, words are hard. To wrap up for the night. And I'll be back tomorrow to try to finish up my automated furnace setup and at least get that, get it working in manual mode, or I can't really do it in manual mode, but close enough. So that's a good place to go. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and we will catch you next time.